love this guy, man. All right, so today I'm getting Shelly's. I asked him what his recommendation was, and it was either between the Maltese and the Similis. He showed me the Similis, and they look a little bit bigger, and I have a bigger tank. I have a 105, and I think they'll just look a lot better in a bigger tank.
Yep, I agree, and I like the striping they get. It's a little bit more detailed of a fish, and they're like a harem breeder, so you can have a bunch of them. Some of the other types of shell dwellers are more
peace hunts, right?
Yeah, you get into the ocellatus, like these guys. It's like a wild pair. They're very aggressive. I mean, it's like a pair bonding fish typically. You might be able to have a couple females in there, but they rarely tolerate another male in the tank unless you got a really large footprint of a tank. When I was scuba diving in Lake Tanganyikan in 2018, seeing these shell dwellers, like I seen ocellatus in the wild at 50, 60 feet. It's very interesting. I got it on video and everything.
The male. Some of that footage.
We're working on that. Jimmy and I is gonna get together someday.
Yeah.
It was very interesting because it was probably 2 to 3 foot distance between the one male and one female, and he'd run over to her shell and play with her, or whatever, then run all the way back to his shell, and there was nobody else around that circular area in 3, 4, 5 feet. This male had his shell in the sandy mud, kind of semi-buried, and a female all the way over here. Now, when I ran across the multifasciatus, which is very similar to the Simlis, which I got video of that, it was half the store, the shell bed.
Oh wow! So like
it was thousands, and it was like a circus of shell dwellers all over.
That's amazing.
It was amazing. It was like a city of shell dwellers. It was crazy. It was totally opposite what like a brevis or the ocellatus. For your particular display exhibit you're gonna do, you know, with having multiple stages of babies, you're probably gonna enjoy these.
Yeah.
If you wanted to do a smaller tank later, a 20-gallon long or something, pair of ocellatus, that'd be like perfect.
Okay.
You know.
Okay, that's good advice. The shells, I've even tried to like look into the whole Bio-Tope thing. The shells, if you ever get them imported, they cost a ton, right?
I have. I snuck shells over. A whole big bag of them.
Because I want to see what they look like. Do you have an example or anything like that with you right now?
Look at that tank. Give me a second. I might have those.
Oh, he has them.
Made me forget about them.
Yeah.
Now you remind me. So it's very interesting. When you dive in the shallows, 3 meters, 5 meters, 10 meters. 10 meters, you hit about 30 feet roundabout. But from that point up to the shore, which is more rocky, there's little sandy areas, little spots. There's all these little snails, shells. And I'm like, and there's no shell dwellers. I didn't realize shell dwellers had to be, the sea shell dwellers in Tanganyikan, the wild, they're 50 feet to 100 feet deep. It's crazy. So I was mind blown to realize that. You start hitting that about 50-foot mark, boy, the shells got big.
Wow, there's so much of variety. Like, it sucks because, you know, the ones you get on Amazon, just escargot and...
Right. I mean, they work.
Man.
They work. You know, I got all kinds of... I have different shells over there. I have some different fancier shells.
The character of these shells.
This is the original. This is the real deal. I had a whole lot more, but technically they don't like you taking shells, so
I think you've earned your keep. You've been there so many times.
Yeah, I've spent a lot of money there, so yeah, just to make that trip. And I don't know if I'll ever make it back. I'm gonna try, but yeah, this is different sizes. Some of them were bigger, but this is what when you start hitting the deep, they start hitting maybe a 2-inch,
that is so
inch and a half to. This is probably what mostly was in the shallower. I don't know if didn't see anything inhabiting the smaller shells. Probably the snails died. And some fish out obviously eat the snails, or they die and they eat them. Maybe birds, snakes. There's crabs.
Mm-hmm.
There's all kinds of wildlife. So you'd see these little snails like nerites all over like rocks. because by the shore it's more algae. So what the big snails, that's a good question even.
Yeah, where do they come from? I mean,
That just, and the water's so hard, just like
Yeah.
salt water.
Yeah.
They don't break down. I mean, they don't really break down. It's like the water's like liquid calcium.
Yeah.
So, but just thinking about it exactly right now, I wonder what these things eat at the deep, because there's no plant life. There's no algae.
Mom?
They have to eat dead fish. There's gotta be, they're a scavenger, obviously, eating whatever they come across, because there's nothing down there other than something that eats something.
Yeah.
I had probably 3 times this much, and I sunned them out in when we got back to our lodge, our main lodge. We're staying in Capilli, and I sun dried them out because I didn't want them stinking up my suitcase and clothes and my dive gear and stuff. Even this one's like a pearl. Look at the detail. You could see it's like years. How long did it? It's layers. You
Yeah.
can feel it.
Yeah, the texture of it. Wow.
So
you don't get this with the stuff you get on Amazon. For
yeah,
sure.
this is the real deal. I gotta go hide these, put them in my safe. So yeah, the shell dwellers are great. They're fun. I always said this is my. I've been saying this. Fritosa, as anybody knows, Fritosa is my first love.
I think we all know that.
But I said when I get like old and like retired, whatever, and I have my walker, my fish I'll probably keep is shell dwellers.
Okay.
I'm gonna have my 20 longs like eye level where I can get to them because they're so easy and they're fun to watch.
I think they're a great introduction to the cichlid world, because I never had a lake tank and a tank before. This is my
first one.
Yeah, so.
You're hooked. You're hooked.
Yeah,
But
totally.
it's one fish I would keep to the day I die. That's gonna be like my final probably fish, because I'm 70s, 80s, whatever. You can't maintain the big tanks or whatever. It's gonna get to the point where and you want that cyclic behavior. You want that attitude. I mean, yeah, the community fish are cool. Shrimp are cool. Guppies are cool. But man, I actually had an ocellatus draw blood for me once.
Oh my gosh.
So they're like,
they're mean little suckers.
There's the biggest cichlid in the world, and some of the smallest cichlid in the world are the shell dwellers from the same lake. This is a young Bulgicomus microlepsis. Anybody knows I used to have Bertha, and I have the big one downstairs. They get up to 40 inches, 30 pounds. So, but there's going to be a point where I can't maintain that. But I had a 20 long up on top of that thing, someone set up similar to that with some black Hawaiian puka sand. And so I did a Shelly, my gold ocellatus. And when they had babies, oh my God, he would rip you apart. He grabbed me like a dog, my thumb, and he went, and latched on. And I had 2 like little pinholes, blood spots.
They look like vampire teeth.
Yeah, vampire teeth. He just dug into my thumb and he latched on. It was amazing. So shell dwellers are great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
so
small,
what's the minimum
easy.
size tank for a Shelly?
Well, you see, I have them breeding in 10-gallon tanks down there.
Yep.
So, but ideally to breed them 20 long is probably one of the best size. Maybe a 30 breeder. You could have a big tank. I had a friend one time out of state, biggest shell dweller tank I ever seen. He had ocellatus in a 125-gallon tank. That's it. It was just
That's it.
gold ocellatus. It was crazy, and he had like 6 inches of sand in there, and he had shells, and they had groups. There was multiple males, and he had just this giant breeding colony. I've never seen anybody dedicate. Usually everybody wants a big fish in there or something, or it was all friggin' shell dwellers.
And what's cool is when we went downstairs, he showed me the multifasciatus, and he had a story that he had a.
Wow!
I'll let you tell a story.
Not too many people know this. I have a real old group of multifasciatus in a 10-gallon. It was a few years ago. I had a baby come out with a fantail. I don't know what happened. I left it in there. It got died. I can't remember. It was years ago, and I wish I had a picture. I don't think I ever did. It was just odd. I had a baby, looked like a fantail more, tail. And now I kick myself. I should have pulled that fish and kept it in its own tank, because I think it would have been worth $1 million. A fantail shell dweller would have been like, a crazy thing. So
Yeah.
it was an oddball thing, and I've always been hoping those guys, they have babies here and there.
Yeah, and you still have the.
I still have.
Oh, yeah.
They're like multiple generations. It's not the original parents,
Mhm.
but it's their offspring in there because I just left them in the tank. So I'm hoping one day they're gonna throw off that fantail, and I'm gonna yank that thing, and it's gonna get the Taj Mahal. It'll get in a 300-gallon tank for that. It's going to the 450-gallon. I'm gonna like, everybody's like, "Where's the fish?" I'm like, "Right there." That $1 million fantail shell's there, one of a kind.
Cool, that's cool. All right, man. Let's get some of these guys. I don't know how many. I'm gonna be so broke, but that's fine.
That's all right.
Yeah, they'll be worth it. They'll
I know where to
me,
find
and
you.
yeah. All right, let's catch some of these suckers. About to show me his rock collection.
This is from Tanganyikan. I have more samples somewhere because I was like different areas. Same when I went to Malawi, I took some stuff, different rocks, different areas, just curious, being a hobbyist and in the business all my life.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the grade of the sand. See, I don't like play sand. Unless you get deep, then you're hitting, it starts a muddy sand, really deep. But that gets into almost like this is Ivory Coast by Seachem, and that's our probably number one seller.
Yeah, that's pretty close.
It's whoever developed that with a coral base, because it's a natural buffer then, helping your pH and stuff. But that gives you an idea, and that was like the sand is like a tan, cream, white.
Yeah.
And then the rocking is all like, well, there's a little show. Get into like a granite, real smooth because obviously the waves and stuff polish the rocks. Yeah, there's like red, cream, white, gold,
A lot,
black.
yeah, a lot of colors. Look at that.
Oh, I got some great footage, especially when the sunlight's hitting on a shallow dive.
Yeah, send me some so I can put this.
Oh, the rocks, it's just glistening. It's
Yeah.
like
He's hoarding his footage.
It'll come sooner or later. I forgot I had that in
I
there.
love that you took some of the sand. And this is pretty much the whole lake.
Yep. And Malawi was the same way. There's one beach at one island we went to. I think I grabbed some. It was freaky. Larry Johnson out of Canada that does the Malawian tours. It was titanium. The whole beach was titanium.
Like the actual
Black sand with the titanium in it. At
Wow.
one location. It was crazy because I'm like,
Do you have footage of it?
I think I do. I'm
Okay.
pretty sure I do.
Make
It
sure
was
you
wild.
guys subscribe to Something Fishy Inc.
Yep.
On YouTube.
Yep.
I'll link it down below and put a little.
I'm working on it,
caption here.
guys. I'm going to be like Jimmy someday. My hero.